Okay, here we are. I'm going to share it to Facebook and say live with Sharon Brewer. And post to Facebook. Okay. There we go. Got it. Well, welcome to this segment of A Day of Light and Love 2022. I'm super, super honored to have Sharon Brewer, who's, well, we've been friends for quite many years, bordering on decades. And I'm glad Sharon's here because she has a lot she can share and a lot that she can bring meaning to during this conversation. But first, I want to say this event is specifically to fill the void for those who might be alone at Christmas, or, I'll tell you, even worse than being physically alone is being with people and feeling alone, because I have worn that hat too. And I think that what we're going to do today in this conversation there'll be wisdom that can be gleaned, perhaps some steps that can be taken. Oh,
I'm sorry, with these co-workers, go ahead.
She's at the hospital right now. So Sharon is active duty as we speak. So she took her break so that she could be a contributor. So Sharon, you've been a nurse for over 50 years?
51.
51 years and serves right on the front lines. I like to call it the front lines. I know that during the deepest years of the COVID experience, 2 solid years, you were on the front lines. I don't even know how many days off you even took in that time.
Not too many.
Not too many, no. So you definitely have a passion for serving, for helping others. And even more than that, I think that you have a passion for the legacy of leadership inside of nursing, that I see you focus intentionally passing that to some of your younger team members. I know they look up to you as a mentor, but you're there. It's Christmas Eve. Well, now it's Christmas Day. And your seniority would say that you don't have to be there.
Not really.
You choose to be here. You
Yes.
choose to be serving. So maybe give a little bit of background for someone who doesn't know you and is tuning in, and then from there we can launch into the conversation that I'm really looking forward to having with you.
Well, thank you so much, Jeannie. I'm so honored to be on here. This is an amazing experience, really. Well, first of all, I want to ask everybody to not ask you. I want to invite you into the home of where I'm at currently. I am in a hospital setting, but this building is the geriatric rehab side, and it's 3 floors, and this is where people live. So I'm inviting you into their home. I actually always consider myself as a guest here because this is where people live. We do have some short-term rehab people, but mostly it's long-term care. And I think Jeannie wrote that, I was in my bio. My passion has always been all these years geriatrics. I have a vast background in a lot of areas of nursing. I started in ICU. I think a lot of us did, and onward and upward from there. I did so many different things. Worked on a psychiatric floor for 20 years, managed dialysis units, became a nurse instructor, went back to school and, got a lot of education and put that to use. I was a nurse consultant for a long time. I retired actually about 10 or 11 years ago now. Didn't like it. Knew I did not want to do that. This has always been my passion. Actually, I wanted to be a nurse at 5 years old, true story. And yeah, it's I can't tell you how thrilling it is for me every single day when I come here. The reason I'm here tonight, I have a set schedule pretty much. I'm pretty much off every weekend. One of the young nurses who I want to share that a little bit of that too. One of the young nurses, she wanted to be home with her babies tonight because it would be Christmas morning. So I told her, hey, I can come in and work for you. She's going to come in for me tomorrow night. But I got here tonight. We were a little short staffed, and she had told me to call her if she needed me to come in for a few hours. I'm not sure she really thought that I was going to do that. However, I did. And bless her heart, she's here with me. She's going to be here till about 3-4 o'clock in the morning. She's covering the floor while I'm doing this in the lobby of this home. So
Raise you up to be able to follow through and be a
correct.
presence.
Yeah.
That's
And
beautiful.
this building is very large. It's not a typical, I want to say typical nursing home setting looking. It's a 3-story building, and there's 180 beds in this facility. And I wish I could go into, it's locked right now. I wish I could take you on a tour of the chapel behind me. It is absolutely breathtaking. It's huge, huge. And I love going in there. Sometimes I'll go in there in the morning and just kind of sit and, reflect before I take my ride home. So
Wow.
anyway,
Well,
that's a little bit about me.
Can we go back to
Yes.
when you said, I want to invite you in to their home? The first time I heard you say that, it was like, whoa, like, how did I never see it that way before? Because it's not an elderly storage facility. That's
No.
not the eyes that you, or the heart that you operate from. You're there from a level of respecting that this is their residence. This is where they live. So therefore, you don't live there. Therefore, you're a guest in their home, even though you're employed to be there. Just that perspective speaks volumes.
Thank you. Yeah, I take that very seriously. I have to talk about love in action. A lot of times I do a lot of reminding. I like to use that word sometime. It is mentoring and, teaching and instructing, but I like to do some reminding and remind people why we're here. Not every day, but, sometimes the younger girls need to be reminded, you are here to, you're here visiting these people in their home. You're here to take care of them. We get paid to do our job. Yes. But you are also here to not just do a job. These are human beings. We have those conversations a lot. And so I do have to remind certain young women, because I work with all women at night. Well, we have one male nurse, but so anyway, I have a great crew. I just want to add that to my little addendum here. I have the best crew on midnights. I get a lot of, why do you work midnights? You don't have to do that. Why don't you go back to doing whatever? I'm here because God has put me right here at this place in this exact time. So anyway, I got off on a little tangent there.
Well, before you
it makes me so happy. I'm sorry.
When
go
you
ahead.
first came down, right before we came on live, we connected for about 5 minutes. And you said that you just made it down there, that you had been caroling.
Oh, yeah. I do a lot of, okay, Jeannie knows me in the morning. See, this is kind of my morning time, right? It's midnight for everybody, but this is my morning time. Jeannie knows me when I get up in the morning. I sing. I do a lot of singing and dancing around. She can attest to that. Anyway, I was just down in one of my residence rooms. She was awake and I was then assisting her to do something, and she's had a stroke. So every morning that I'm here, every morning when I get, I leave, I go in and sing with her. Well, we were doing Christmas carols just now, and she was able to say to me, she wasn't able to say Mary. She was able to say Mary. She was never able to say Christmas in the last few weeks. She gave me the biggest Christmas present just now. She was able to say she was able to say Christmas. So that's my present from her tonight. So
Wow.
I get the best presents. Anyway, I was caroling, and this last week I've been doing a lot of caroling in the halls. Yeah. You know, I think if you guys, this is the sanguine in me coming out. Wheelchair races are real, okay? Wheelchair races are real, especially on midnights when no one's here. And I'm the
Yeah.
boss. Here's the thing, I'm the boss at night, so you know, it's okay.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun, but you know, on a serious note, it's the fun of, and that's, you know, I know we're going to get into the love in action, but that's exactly what love in action is to me. You know, I take all of that love and put it into action. And 99% of the time for me, I try to attack everything with humor, everything. And it's some of my lowest moments. Humor has always, it's just never failed me. You know, it's just never failed me. And so anyway, that's part of my love in action.
You're
I take
kind of
that.
you're kind of like a Christmas 365-day energy girl.
Can I
You
dance?
are,
Oh,
for sure. And I
I
think
was going to wear my elf hat, but I thought maybe I'll just, you know.
yeah, one of your trademarks is fun. And you definitely bring fun on the job with you. Most certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I wrote, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying there's always a way to find fun, and you do create it.
You know what? When you can't find it, you create it. That's exactly right. What's that saying I used to say? You know, I attack everything with humor, but can recognize a serious moment and treat it with a very tender heart and open mind. So I know when to, I've got my boundaries. Sometimes I have a little bit too much fun and I have to get, you know, focused. I have one of the young ladies here, she'll be like, focus. It's actually a funny thing, you know, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right now, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing place. And yeah, like I said, I was so excited to invite you guys into this home. Um, I wish there wasn't such things as HIPAA right now, because I would love to be able to share, you know, some of my people with you. They're amazing. You know, it's always been my passion, geriatrics, and it's always been one of my secondary, you know, avenues of employment, I should say. But now I'm at the age of these seniors. You know, I just turned 72 in October, and I'm taking care of people that are younger than I am. So, you know, that's a little bit of an eye opener. It's yeah, it's a little bit of an eye opener. Gives you a little bit different, another different perspective of a whole different thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So Christmas is love in action. What does that mean to you?
Pretty much what I was just saying. You know, I try to take all the love that I have in my heart and put it into action, whether it be singing with someone, you know, visiting a friend, doing something random, a random act of kindness, paying it forward, whatever analogy you want to use. I put that into action, always leaving a smile on someone's face when you leave them. And honestly, 99.9% of the time that occurs. And I used to have, until Jeannie and I worked, we've done a lot of work with Jeannie and a lot of other people on this call. It was always kind of anonymous for me. I wasn't very good at, you know, like shining that light on myself, as I should say, and which dulled that about me. It dumbed it down. And yeah, so I don't want to draw attention to everything I do, believe me, but it's so much better. It leaves me so much more fulfilled. And I'm in turn being able to put that into action for somebody else to be fulfilled and loved on. So, you know, there's bad days. There's, yeah. And, you know, I think it's in my bio too. I'm single. I don't have children, and I haven't experienced the grandma thing. except I am Grandma Sharon and I am Mommy Sharon to a lot of people over the years. And there's those days when I feel like, yeah, but then I think about love in action. That's why when I came up with that title, it's always been love in action for me. Always. It's just something that comes from me. And anyway, so that's what it means. So Christmas time, I think it's a time where people feel a little differently. They feel more nostalgic. They feel that grief and loneliness. And that's the time that love in action needs to happen even more. I think we're reminded more so in people's birthdays and, the people that aren't with us anymore. And that pain is a little bit harder to bear at Christmas and holidays. And, it's just reminders. So yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, so let's take this a step further then.
Yes.
Let's say that you are someone moving through or in that experience, because obviously you've been that person in that experience. What are some steps you could offer, or some steps that you could offer someone to help them move from feeling the void to, is there a way to make it the fuel? Did you make it the fuel to serve
Absolutely.
others?
Absolutely. So many things I've learned over the last several years, the last couple of decades actually, is what you just asked me. Things to do. There's not always, it's not always convenient to reach out to someone, if that makes sense. I mean, to call somebody on the phone, they might not be available. So there has to be avenues that you can take in your solitude, if that makes sense. And, I've learned the whole, meditation and prayer and having my Bible close by, and, or having a recording of a friend's voice, my friend Jeannie Fritsch, and, just hearing or reading or whatever it is, whatever tool I can pull out of my quiver, my arrow out of my quiver, whatever I that's what I have to say to people. I don't have too many down days anymore. I truly don't. I was going to talk about this at the end, but I'm going to share something. Okay. This is something I decided to share with you guys tonight. And Jeannie doesn't know about it. Nobody knows except God and Jesus. Okay. So it's been, I can't even tell you how many years it's been going on. It's a tradition I do every Christmas because I anticipate that feeling of loneliness. Let's just say that, let's just use that word. I sometimes anticipate that feeling of loneliness. So every Christmas, before Christmas morning, I take a little box and I write two things because, well, let me tell you what prompted this. One day I had this thought, what do you give God for Christmas? What do you give Jesus on his birthday?
Wow.
So I kept thinking and thinking. So I didn't do anything that first year. And the second year it came to me. So every Christmas I get a little box and I write two things on there on a piece of paper. And inside the box, I write something else. And I'll tell you what it says in a minute. It's going to make me cry. So I write two things. I write something that's burdened me for maybe throughout the year, maybe just yesterday, last month, whatever. And then I write the second thing down, something that's brought me joy, or something that I've done that I've surrendered, to God for, to find the solution to a problem. Okay. And inside, and so I put a real nice bow on it. And Christmas morning, I opened that bow, and inside that box, on the top of the box, inside the box, it says every year, let go and let God. And I give those presents to the Lord, and I give them to Jesus and God. That's their presents from me. The first one is because I know that he'll carry me through. It's not always been easy for me throughout the years. Get out of God's chair, get out of his way. And the second one is to remind him of how how aware I am of what he has given me. So, and I'm very grateful to God for giving us his son. And, it's a whole thing that I do. So after that's done, and I might have a little hot chocolate or something. And so that's my tradition that I wanted to share with you.
Wow,
I've never
that is
shared that with
beautiful.
anyone. No one.
That is beautiful.
So that's one little.
Just that perspective of the gift to God.
I'm sorry?
Just the perspective of the gift to God.
Yeah.
Really neat.
Yeah, because I'm saying we, but I think for myself, I'm praying and I'm asking for, and I'm, it's almost sometimes it's like a barter, and I don't want to barter because that's not what I really want to do. And, then now all of a sudden I'm sitting in that big chair and I got to get out of it. I'm like, no. So it's kind of a way for me to humble myself back down too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, he's in charge, but he deserves that gift. He deserves that Christmas present. So that's another piece of my Christmas love in action. Putting that into action and thanking him for whatever I've had going on.
That's beautiful. So let's take this a step further.
Sure.
What would you suggest to someone? Christmas is love in action, but love in action isn't needed and necessary every day.
Correct.
So let's say that you're someone who has a family member that's elderly or confined. Maybe there could be some level of health handicap or physical handicap or mental handicap, and they're either housebound or in a a group home setting or something like where you're serving. What would you suggest that someone could do for those, really at any point?
What can the family member do?
Or a friend, or
just anybody. That's going to be a real easy one, actually, because that is a daily struggle. And again, it's more prevalent in the holiday season because people are, even dementia residents are aware. I completely firmly believe that, by the way. And even at the holiday time, I watch them. It's different. Let's just put it that way. It'd take too long to talk about, but what would I say to do? Visit more, get more involved. I think that a lot of times caregivers, family members, they feel so, this is coming from different groups that I've talked about and talked in. They feel guilt. They feel remorse. They feel, like helpless and hopeless. I don't know what to do. So I think that's real important for wherever the person is living, that they have a real strong social services here. One of the things I like about it here, and they get family involvement going on. There's a great pastoral care department here. So that's, without going into all of that again, it's really about getting involved, because you see I've seen such decline in people's physical when their mental isn't taken care of. It's just like they seriously, you talk about
they're emotional.
Correct. Your emotional, physical, your emotional and physical, if those aren't met, your physical declines.
Yeah.
And it's just, people give up, and it's not necessary. But at the same time, there's no blame. There's no blame on family members that just don't know what to do. They feel hopeless and helpless. A lot of the residents here maybe only have one child, for instance, or one caregiver that has anything to do with them. So yeah, that's what I would say.
So take action is what you're saying.
Take action, just
some action.
Some action. Slow and steady wins the race. one piece, one smile begins. I mean, a smile can, we talk about raising all ships. I always believe one smile can raise all ships. Just one smile, get involved. And if you see residents, family members that are struggling, don't back away from that. It's okay for you to get involved. It's okay for you to be a little nosy and find out if they need help, or you can do a lot of things anonymously too. And another thing, I would like to see more volunteer work going on in the communities. We always talk about, especially at Christmas, you always see all kinds of advertisement, adopt a grandparent, adopt someone, the angel trees, like for children, they have them for residents too from here in some of the stores in the area. And that's all great, but it's the rest of the year that we have to worry about.
Yes.
So that's my Christmas love in action, which actually means love in action every day. It's an everyday
Because it's
thing.
the spirit of Christmas. It is love in action.
It is. I heard I can't remember the carol. I heard it on the way to work tonight. The Christmas carol, so this is Christmas. It should be Christmas all year round. We should always have that holiday spirit in our hearts. And anyway, that's how I want to live my life anyway.
That's
So
beautiful. Thank you. That was a great perspective. Right from that's somebody's home that you're going in. It's not just a facility, it's their home. And then to take small actions consistently. They probably don't have to be very big.
No.
It's just consistency is important.
In that, and I'm going to share something. And if we're almost at the end of our talk, I think I would like to, ask for prayer, for one of my young residents down in my corner of my own little world down here. Hopefully she's going to be with me in the morning, but maybe not. So, I'm just going to go in it. When I get off of here, I'm going to go and sit with her for a little while. And, she makes that transition. At least I'll be here there with her. So,
yeah.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. I know.
And I love what I do. Absolutely love what I do. Just love what I do.
I know. I can tell. I'm sure others can tell too, just by hearing the passion and conviction that you have as an advocate. It's not just that you're a nurse. It's almost like you're an advocate for those who are at the end of their life and dependent to some degree.
But just to add that, I'm glad you said end of life. It's one of the most beautiful experiences if you sit with somebody at the end of their life. But that's something that I worked through for many years too. It's taught you about being comfortable with your own mortality and your own morbidity. And I think that a lot of people aren't comfortable with that. And, when we lose loved ones, I don't think sometimes we don't come to terms with that because it'll happen suddenly. And it's a little difficult. And it's always kind of a little bit more difficult when it happens to you and your family, as opposed, it's different.
But to be able to serve that family and to be there for their loved one.
Correct.
And even support for the family.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. Very beautiful. And I'm very honored when I'm the one that's there. And I was there at a lot of those ends during my, quarantine. I called it my 2-year quarantine. That's what I did.
Yeah, you were there for that. Well, thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for expanding the perspective around geriatrics and around the need for nurturing the relationships with those that we know who are not able to live at home.
Yeah.
And even those that are able to live at home, sometimes they just have a caregiver, but they have a family that's so busy that they're employing the caregiver. But just those little bits of consistent inputs it's a beautiful gift.
Like one of my residents said to me one day, her daughter kept telling her, Mom, I'll come over tomorrow. Mom, I'll come over tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. And then mom has to now live here because she's unable to live at home. And we talk a lot about that, how the daughter now feels guilty and, she's going through a lot of turmoil over it and they're working through that, So we have a lot of talks about that kind of thing.
It brings to mind a saying a long time ago that I heard. It really resonated and it resonates still. Don't be so busy making a living that you don't make a life.
That you don't make a life. That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. All right.
I love that. I thank you for reminding me of that. Thank you.
Thanks for your contribution. Thanks for just offering your wisdom, your perspective, and the wisdom of your perspective. It's just nice to know that there are people like you that are so vested in their purpose that it's become a mission that serves others. So thank you.
Well, right back at you.
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Merry Christmas, everyone. And I can't wait to hear the rest of the recordings. And I love you very much.
Love you too.
All right. Thanks.